Welcome to Legislative Updates. I'm your host, Doug Thompson, with my co-host, John Barker. John's on the left side of your screen as you're looking at, and in between is Dan Hawkins from the 100th District out of Wichita, and of course John's our representative out of the 70th District. And guys, you've had a little break from the legislature, because
right.
I know this has been one busy, what do you call it?
Session.
Yep. Okay. And so you've had, a week, 10 days off or something?
3 weeks. 3 weeks.
3 weeks, boy. Okay. And during that period of time, you got a chance to get back into your communities, talk with people, maybe take a little trip and do some of those things. But now you come back in, and tell me what the purpose of coming back in now. What is it? What's it called? What do you try to do?
This is the veto session. We give an opportunity, those 3 weeks we're off, for the governor to review bills that were passed the last day or the day before. She has a certain period of time to veto them, or if she does it, then they become law without her signature. She's vetoed, I believe, 8 bills, plus a number of 18 parts of the appropriations bill, which is a very large bill. So this is our opportunity to go back in and override her vetoes. And of course, if it's a Senate bill, the Senate will go first. If it's a House bill, the House will go first. If we override a House bill, the veto, get the votes we need, then it goes to the Senate, and if they override it, it becomes law without her signature.
So she doesn't have the chance to just continue this on. She vetoes after you guys adopt it again?
No, after the veto session, if we pass it, we've overridden her, it becomes law.
Okay. All right. And so when you go back and you take up these, are they do they go back on the floor for conversations, for debates and things before you proceed to vote on them?
Normally, the chairman of that committee the bill came out of will carry the bill up front and make a motion to override the governor's veto, and then explain it, and then stand for questions, and then submit it to the body for a vote.
Okay. Does the legislature receive something from the governor's office saying, "Here's why I vetoed it," or "I don't agree with this"? Or
she does. She puts an explanation if she desires. She doesn't. Not required to.
Okay.
When she does the appropriations, she line item vetoes just certain sections of it. It's the only bill that she has the ability to line item veto. Just pick out certain portions of it. And I think you said, what, 18?
18 line item vetoes
out of the appropriations bill, and then 8 regular bills that she has vetoed, which I understand, and Dan, correct me if I'm wrong, it's more than any other governor.
Yes, she has vetoed more bills than any governor in the last 17 years. So you got to go back to Governor Finney, to find a governor that's vetoed as many as she has.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh.
Okay, well, this is, of course, Friday, and you guys go back to the legislature on Monday?
Well, we start
Sunday
Monday.
night.
We'll go up Sunday night.
Okay.
And start early Monday morning, and go straight through to. And it's up to Dan, the speaker, at what, which bills will come up first for veto. But there'll be a plan to do that in probably 1 or 2 days, and then we'll be working on other issues too.
Okay.
I've got 3 conference committees that I'll be working on to try to get conference committees reported out, and then we'll have to vote on those. I know the Judiciary has a couple of conference committees that they need to get out, and I'm sure there's some other committees that have conference committees where we work with the Senate, our counterparts, and try to resolve some of the issues that differ between the House bill and the Senate's version.
Right now, what we've been doing getting ready for this, Doug, is we've analyzed basically all of the bills that she vetoed. To see, number one, can we override those? So we'll look at the votes, who didn't vote with us, who voted with us, and then we decide, can we get enough votes to override the veto on that bill? If we can, then we move forward with it. If we can't, we'll just move on. So when you think about it, there's 26 vetoes. That's a lot, and probably 8 or 9 is about all we'll get. There's just it's hard to get all of us together on one bill and be able to override the veto. So there's certain ones, like the tax bill, everybody wants to override that one. So we've already kind of decided that. Now there could be some other bills that would come up that maybe some of our members that want us to look at vetoing, and if that's the case and we think that we can get them we might do that. But I think on Monday you'll see us work pretty much all day just working on overriding the vetoes that we've identified that we can get the votes on.
When these were passed, did you anticipate that her response may be veto?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You anticipated
The
that it
tax
would be
bill
that
she's
one?
vetoed before.
She vetoed it twice before. Yeah.
Okay. We're coming up near to the end of this first segment. When we come back, then we'll pick up and we'll go to what you anticipate with the vetoes, and we'll be back. You're watching Legislative Updates. Welcome back to Legislative Updates. I'm your host, Doug Thompson, with my co-host, John Barker. John's on the left side of your screen. In the middle is Dan Hawkins from the 100th District out of Wichita. And Dan, we were just talking about the fact you and John are going back, and this is called a veto session. And so there's a number of things taking place. You've laid out some papers in front of you. So where do you want to go here?
That way I can see everything that we got going on here in a real quick fashion. Well, number one, it is called veto session, and for a reason. Our governor has the opportunity to veto our bills, like John said. If she vetoes them, then we have a chance to override. It's not an easy job to override the vetoes, though. We have to have 2/3 in the House, which is 84 votes to override. We have 86 Republicans. We can't lose more than 2. If we lose more than 2, then we can't override. Typically, the Democrats aren't going to vote with us. They're going to vote with their governor. So really, it's on us if we're going to override the veto. We did talk about the fact that she did override more bills and line item vetoes than any governor since Governor Finney. So I guess actually it was this morning in my my newsletter that went out, I talked about the governor being veto was her name-o because she vetoed so many bills. I always have something good to say about the governor every week. So if you want to see my newsletter, go out there and read it. You'll enjoy it. One of the biggest veto overrides really coming is Senate Bill 50. And Senate Bill 50 is our kind of like our mega tax bill. This is the one that has the tax cut, the federal tax cut. We have to decouple from the federal tax code so we can allow people to itemize deductions even though they take the standard deduction on the federal level. So that was a big bill for us. It's one we've actually worked on, as John said, for 3 years. She's vetoed it twice, so she vetoed it 3 times now. Last time though, we didn't really have the numbers to even try a veto. We do believe we'll override her on that. So that's going to be probably one of the first bills we'll take up to, and it'll have to start on the Senate side. Senate will override, then it'll come to the House, and then we'll override her. So we're looking forward to that. Senate Bill 55 is going to be a tough one. Senate Bill 55 is the transgender women's sports bill, the one that basically says that a transgender male going to female cannot participate in sports against females because their bodies are different. They're stronger, they're probably faster, and so it's really a fairness issue. There's a lot of people want that bill overridden. The Senate's kind of in a bind. They've got 3 votes against it, and they're not really finding anybody that wants to switch. So we'll have to wait and see what the Senate does with that transgender sports bill. If they pass it, it'll come to us, and then we'll take it up. But they have to pass it first, so that's going to be a tough one. So we hope that they can come through and find somebody that'll switch their vote, and we'll be able to override it. We had actually 2 election bills that are very important. One is trying to think of what the number is. It's a ballot harvesting bill. Right. It's 2332?
I think so. I don't think you have it out here.
No, I'm not seeing it out there. But we have a ballot harvesting bill. We actually had a person down in Harvey County back in 2018 that did this ballot harvesting and literally won the election after the election with mail-in ballots. Or actually, he actually delivered those mail-in ballots to the election office, and on election day he was losing by like 90-some votes, and 3 days later he wins by 250. So ballot harvesting is out there. We did a bill to stop that. The governor vetoed it, of course. I do believe that we'll have a really good chance of overriding the veto on that ballot harvesting bill. And then we have another elections bill that really, basically all it says is that the governor, the secretary of state cannot just go arbitrarily change election law right before an election like happened in this last election in various other states. Didn't necessarily happen here, and it didn't happen here. We just want to be proactive and make sure it doesn't happen here. And so we did that bill to stop that. Of course, she vetoed that. There's a good chance that we override that one as well. Concealed carry, one of John's, actually two of John's gun bills. One was a concealed carry reciprocity bill that allows 18 to 21 year olds to actually be able to get their concealed carry license, and also allows reciprocity with other states. So if you have a concealed carry permit in other states, then we will reciprocate with that here in Kansas. Both of those bills are very important. The second bill is an Eddie Eagle bill. It's called Eddie Eagle, and the NRA literally came up with a gun safety education piece for schools, and we thought it was a great deal. And we actually had a kind of a hard time passing that one, but we did pass it. Governor vetoed it. I think we're probably going to have a little bit tougher time overriding that one. We shouldn't, but we have some Republicans that have just refused to vote with us on that bill. So I think that one's going to be tough.
Some Democrats that will support it.
We hope there are. There hope there's some Democrats that'll kind of take up the slack and support it. And then the last bill is the license plate bill. You know, we have lots of personalized license plates, and we had a mega bill. And in that bill, there was lots of different personalized license plates, but one was based on the Gadsden flag. You know, don't tread on me. And the governor didn't like that, and so she vetoed that whole mega tag bill. So all those other tags that everybody wants, they can't get because she vetoed it, all because of the Gadsden flag bill. So we do believe that we'll get the votes to override that one, and then we'll move through and look at what else we can do for the rest of the veto session.
All right, we're going to cut away, take a break. We'll be right back. You're watching Legislative Updates. Welcome back to Legislative Updates. I'm your host, Doug Thompson, with co-host John Barker, and in the middle, Dan Hawkins, and Dan's from the 100th District in Wichita. And Dan, before we cut away to break, you were talking about some of the bills that are going to be coming back up for consideration for the possible override. And do you have more that you want to go through?
We do have a little bit more, Doug. We have a big budget bill, and she actually line item vetoed 18 pieces of the budget bill, and that's a lot. I think the most we'd ever seen out of her before was 4. But out of that, some of it really doesn't matter to us. In fact, it was kind of funny. Some of the stuff that she vetoed hurts her issues more than it hurts ours. So why would we even go back and try to override the veto? Just let it go. And that's actually what we're going to do. There's actually 3 or 4 pieces that we'll really work on. We had a meditation room in the State House for many, many years, actually probably 8 or 9 years. It was always a line item in the budget. We call it a proviso that said that this certain room was the meditation room. Well, last year they did not put it in there, and the governor literally kicked everybody out and took that over because we didn't have that line item in there. So we put it in there this year. Of course, she decided to veto it. Why would you veto where a meditation room goes? But she did. That's going to be a big deal to us. We'll try to override that, and I actually think we will. Also, she vetoed the federal money that's going to be coming in from this huge stimulus package of Biden's. The LC, we have a process to use. We have a legislative budget committee, and they study it. Then they report to the legislative coordinating council, and we okayed it, or we would okay the expenditure. She didn't like that. She wanted to control it herself. So she vetoed that. I do believe we'll be able to get that one overridden. And then there was a place called Hope Ranch down in Sedgwick County that works at getting women out of the sex trafficking industry. and get them back into society and get them away from that horrible situation that they're in. And we were given a little bit of money. I think it was $300,000 was being given to Hope Ranch to help them increase the number of women that they could help. It's a residential type facility, so they were needing a little help. She vetoed that, which when you talk about somebody needing that help, she said nobody can even talk to me about my record on helping in that industry. Well, she just vetoed that, so I guess we're going to talk about her record. So those we're going to be working on, and I think that's going to be a lot for us to be able to take on.
All right. Okay, John?
Sure you're finished?
I'm finished.
Okay. That's the best part of bringing Dan on. I don't have to say anything.
Neither of us do.
Neither of us do.
Did I take a breath during when I was talking? I did breathe, didn't I?
I'm not sure. The only thing I was going to mention, Doug, is I'm getting some emails. Back the day before we hit the first adjournment, I missed a couple of votes. One was on, I believe, on the education bill. One was on Senate Bill 55. Senate Bill 55 is commonly called the transgender bill. I hated missing that. However, I had a medical appointment at the VA hospital that day, and it took a little longer than I thought. I called the speaker's office. He gave me an excuse not to be there because we had sufficient votes, and it passed the House 76 to 43. You only need 63 on initial voting on bills, so we had plenty of votes. Had they needed me, they could have done a call of the House and brought me back. But I wanted to make sure that folks understood that it was not intentional, but I had an appointment to VA. I'd had that appointment for quite a while. They found a little problem that day. It didn't matter. I was out for about 2 hours, maybe 3. I think it was 3. Mm-hmm. And I came back and we did a couple of concurs on my gun bills and stuff. But and I do intend on voting to override all the governor's vetoes. I normally always, unless we have a Republican governor, I may not override some of his, but all these bills, 2 of these bills are my bills, the gun bills, the educational gun safety bill is my bill. I think all these bills are good. I hated that she vetoed them. And it bothers me on the gun bill because she, in her statement, said she's always been a supporter of Second Amendment rights. And yet she vetoed a bill that would require 18-year-olds to take training and do a background check and get a permit. Presently in the state of Kansas, an 18-year-old can carry a gun without any training.
Without even being in the military.
Without being in the military. They can open carry in the state of Kansas. So this is a good bill. Anytime you can get training is a good thing. And for her to veto this, and as far as the education, the Eddie Eagle, it doesn't have to be the NRA program, but it has to be similar to the NRA. And that program doesn't, for the elementary schools, it doesn't take very long, about an hour. It talks about if you see a gun, you run away. You tell an adult. That's basically the program. Of course, when they get older in high school, it's the program for hunter safety, which I've taught for the last 25 years, to get people in to understand the safety aspects of hunting and guns. So I think it's a shame that she vetoed it, and I hope we override her on both those or all of these bills. But the Senate has to take the Senate bills up first. If they pass it, then it comes to the House. We take the House bills up, and then if we override, then they send them to the Senate, and if both bodies override, then it becomes law. But that's basically what I want to say is being absent is not a no vote. It's an absent. You had no vote.
And like you said, you had already was pretty sure with the outcome of it, so
yeah,
it didn't
we knew
pivot on
outcome.
one vote. And of course, most of the people would know this. You're prior military, retired military, and then of course went on in to become a district judge. And
right.
So I understand it. I understand, and you can't be everywhere for at all times.
And if you go to the VA like I do, when you get an appointment, you try to keep it, because if you have to cancel it, it may be another 90 days.
Sure, and then you cost somebody else who would have been next in line a chance to get it. So I understand that. We're going to cut away and take a break. We'll be right back. You're watching Legislative Updates. Welcome back to Legislative Updates. I'm your host, Doug Thompson, with my co-host, John Barker. First off, I thank you guys for all of the work that you put into this. This has been a tough go around, I know, because I've seen you guys on every Fridays before you got break. And when you'd come in, it was like, man, we're tired. We are logging some long hours here. And appreciate all that you're doing. And so we're going to have another session. The plan is right now, 1 week from today, that we will film again, and that may be the end for the year until we start in on the fall term, of course. And if it's still going, why we'll do it the second week. We'll do it as always on a Friday, and we'll get the word out. And as always, we'll put the contact information for each of you on the screen so that people will be able to be in contact with you. And once again, thank you for coming in. You've been watching Legislative Updates. See you next time.